Welcome to the B-Roll Matters Show, where we go behind the headlines and explore the stories that matter most, told by the people who lived them. I'm your host, Jamal Bransford, a storyteller and educator today. We're joined by a Flint native who's been telling sports stories at the highest level, ESPN sports reporter Eric Woodyard. From covering the Detroit Lions to interviewing legends like LeBron James, Mike Tyson, and Barry Sanders, Eric's journey is proof that hometown roots can fuel a worldwide reach. He's an award-winning journalist, a published author, and someone who's used his platform to give back to his community. Let's get into it.
We appreciate you, man. Welcome to the show.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. So everybody kind of has that I started from the bottom, now I'm here kind of thing, man. What's that story for you?
Man, well, I grew up, Flint native, born and raised. I grew up on Avenue B. Attended Summerfield. Longfellow, Southwestern, came out in 06. So, I can't really say I just started at the bottom, but I did grow up in the hood.
Yeah.
Grew up in a tough neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? So, Fifth Ward of Flint. And, it was a lot of crime. It was a lot of toughness growing up in that area that just put the dog in you. But I had good parents. I had a good support system.
Yeah.
Who always kept me on the right track. So, yeah, even though we grew up in the hood, so to speak, I definitely had good, strong people around me who didn't. We wasn't poor, nothing like that growing up. We definitely had a good upbringing.
Sometimes when you're growing up, you don't realize that if you was poor, you didn't realize you was poor. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. So what was your what was Eric's motivation back then?
Man, it was a lot. I just didn't want, as I mentioned before, growing up in a neighborhood like that, tough neighborhood. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to fail, man. I didn't want to be, one of the bums walking, around waiting. I would see as I'm getting on the bus sometimes, it'd be a line around the store like some new Jordans coming out for people to go in there and buy liquor. And, you see a lot of bums and crackheads. And I think the difference between me coming up is when people who necessarily weren't doing that good would tell me things, I would listen. When my friends would laugh them off and, man, he don't know what he's talking about. But for whatever reason, even at 11, 12, 13, when they would tell me something, I would listen. I wouldn't, judge a book by its cover because whatever it was that God put in me young, it had to be to show me that, hey, these guys clearly went through something and They got some type of testimony to share through it. So I think I was always a listener and I knew what I didn't want to do. And I think that was kind of the blueprint of why I got to where I got.
You mentioned you had some amazing supportive parents, man, and a great support system. What was some of those some of them lessons that stuck with you through this whole process?
I still hear my mama voice in my head to this day, man. She was tough on me. She's still tough on me. She's tough on my son. Anybody who ever met her know that she's tough. So I think that's probably my rock, my foundation was my mom. It was always and still is tough love. She ain't lovey-dovey. She one of the people that you get a whooping, she gonna feed you in the next minute. It ain't gonna be no soft, apology or nothing like that. If you got in trouble, her way is she gonna invite you in that kitchen to eat some food or something like that.
Out in the corner, man.
Huh?
You ain't getting no time out in the corner?
No, I wasn't no time out in the corner. We ain't had none of that. It was tough. It was ruling with an iron fist in her household.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's the rock, man. I got to start with my mom. And, I definitely, my parents, I think it was a good balance. My dad was more like the calm one. My mom ruled the iron fist. So, and I just had a lot of strong people around, man, from my grandparents, to just the community, man. I think my whole hood helped raise me. That's just how it was. Like, if the street lights come on, I'm the one that got to go in the house. And I used to always wonder, like, man, why they so tough on me when my friends can get away with that? And I think now I understand it as a grown man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they saw something in me probably that they didn't see in everybody else.
Yeah. You had a pretty great career, man. I know that do you feel like you've made it being able to say you work at ESPN? Do you feel like
I think
that goal?
I get that question a lot because a lot of people.
It's like,
I can't allow my mind to go there. That's just how I am. I'm a person who I stay humble and I try to put that in there in my son and people around me as well. And I am happy where I'm at, but I'm humble and I'm always pushing to get better. But in the same sentence, and everybody asks me, what's the next step? What's this? And I'm like, I'm at the highest level of storytelling. ESPN, you know what I'm saying? You don't really if you're trying to get into sports, that's like the dream place to be. So in that sense, I do understand that I am on the highest level. I work with the best editors in the world.
Yeah.
They're going to push you. You know what I mean? You can't get away with the stuff I could get away with at the places I, worked before. You got to go the extra mile. So I think it's made me a much better storyteller like, just the types of people I'm able to get in my stories. And, I was just talking to my editor the other day, and I did a story with Aiden Hudson on the Lions.
Yeah.
And he was tripping that I got a quote from Big Sean in there. You know what I mean? Like talking about Aiden Hudson, just like the small things that is going to separate me from everybody else. So I think in that sense, I am grateful that I'm on this, but I don't necessarily feel like I made it, but I'm very grateful, man, because I think, as I said before, coming from where I come from, man, like, I used to hide the talent that I was a writer, you know what I'm saying? Because that was considered like soft coming up, you know what I mean? To where now, like, man, I'm getting paid to use my mind and go around the world to be able to use that gift, man. So I try to preach that to kids all day, man. Just like it's a gift.
And so talking about that, man, let's go back, man. I've been knowing you for a long time, man. Kind of go back and even maybe start at college and stuff. Like, what was it always a dream to be in sports, or did you have other dreams and this just kind of landed in your lap?
Man, I think it was crazy because growing up in Flint, especially, I came out in 06. So you look at around the time from like 99, 2000, that was like peak Flint era basketball in my lifetime. I can't speak on the 80s and all that, but my lifetime, you got the Flintstones at Michigan State, you got Corey Hightower, you got Kelvin Torbert, #1 player in the nation, you got Jaquan Hart at North. It was so much talent just all around. So everybody want to go to the NBA.
Yeah,
everybody want to go to the league. I was just like everybody else. I want to go to the league. And you know what I mean? You get to a point where you're like, man, okay, I'm straight, but do I really got an opportunity to do that? Cool. I'm decent. Things weren't working out. And I remember I had a teacher, man, and she was telling me like, Eric, you're a really good writer. You know what I mean? Like you could, and I'm like, what can you do with that? I do remember back in the day at the Flint Journal, I used to see this black guy face in the newspaper all the time by the name of Ricky Hampton. And I do remember he came and spoke. Yeah, he came and spoke to us. I was at some type of little event, and I remember he came and spoke to us, and I was like, man, that's cool. I just didn't know what that was called. I knew it was like, okay, now you in a paper, and I used to read the Slam magazine all the time. I just didn't know what that was called. Like I didn't know that was a journalist or reporter.
Right.
I just like, I get this I'm looking at the magazine, I like it. So that kind of sparked it, man. I knew I wanted to be in sports, but I didn't necessarily know like journalism was a thing. I didn't realize that literally until I got to college. So when I went to Western Michigan, I'm like, what can I do to mix basketball and writing? They said journalism, and the rest is like history. I just kept grinding, man. That's really what happened.
When you even got to that transition, I know you said you wanted to go to the league. Was it like what happened for you to say, okay, this is not happening? Like, did you like didn't get as many letters? Like, was it just or your mom was like, hey man, I need you to get that degree first, and then it just happened to go that way? Like what transpired?
Series of events, like in middle school. I think everybody feel like it's politics, it's political. I just had some things that didn't work out of middle school. So then I got to high school, I played, and then I felt like from my sophomore year going to my junior year, I feel like I had grew a lot. I was good. So when I was at Southwestern, I wasn't getting an opportunity like that. You know what I mean? So I went over to Northern. I made the varsity team my junior year, and they told us our original plan was to miss 5 games with the transfer. I get over to our transfer. I'm on varsity. I'm practicing every day. The day before the game, the AD told me, Eric, you can't play. Now, my mom, the ground rules before I got here, okay, if you can't play within these 5 games, you're not staying in Northern. You're going back to Southwestern. That ain't what she said. She was way harsher than that. You taking your back to Southwestern, you know what I mean? So it didn't happen. I went back to Southwestern, and I'm just like, man, I'm a junior at this point. It's not working out like that. And I was in this scholarship program at the University of Michigan Flint called ISP.
Yeah.
And I was in an ISP program, and I wasn't really taking it that serious because it was like I always had sports at that time. So I was popping in, I was popping out. But then once that happened, I'm like, man, like, realistically, my mom, I'm not going to be able to pay for school. I started taking that more serious. And I set out my whole senior year of basketball. And a lot of people was like, man, like, dang, you a waste of talent, this. And I'm like, but if it ain't worked in this long, I got to be smart. Where I'm going to go at the best JUCO or something like that, like, it ain't working. You know what I'm saying? So I got into that scholarship program, and luckily, by the grace of God, one of the ladies there, one of the directors, she worked it out, and I was able to transfer my scholarship to Western, and that's how that happened, man. But yeah, man, it was a tough decision because I love, you love the game so much. I still was at the Y every day, but I knew that scholarship program was going to get me where I need to be, and I had to shift my focus. And I think that's a lot of people problem. Even people my age sometimes and a little younger, they still following and chasing that dream. And at some point, there's so many things within this dream you can still do. Absolutely. And still be in the realm of what you want to do. It might not be on the court, but there's so many things, man. It's agents, man. It's general managers. There's people who run the time scores, people who in production. It's so many jobs in sports that's not promoted to us. We only think that we can make it by just going to the league or being the talent out there, and that's not true.
Preach, man. Hey, man, I tell young people that all the time, or just anybody really all the time, man, that so many avenues in anything you want to do, man. I'm telling my son now, anybody who got a son, really even
Mhm.
daughter, so too, though, you got kids. I mean, sports usually becomes the number one thing on the list.
Yeah.
That's priority. I want to play football, basketball, whatever, right? And so, like, I'm telling him the same thing, man. I want you to research everything outside of that main guy on the court. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, I remember enjoying my time, man. I was young, man. I remember one of my first opportunities being able to cover uh Michigan and Michigan State football. They need somebody on the weekends to go cover the college games, man. And that kind of opened my eyes up to like, yo, this is dope to be able to go behind the scenes, be in the locker rooms, interview the players, man, sit up in the press boxes, be out on the field. Man, I feel like $1 million out there. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is better than being on
Mhm.
somebody's team, man. Like the
Yeah.
access you get as a person working in press, man, and I'm sure in your lane that it's even more, being that beat reporter. Kind of tell me like your day to day, man. Like what's your day to day look like as a beat reporter for
I
sports?
mean, it depends. Like in basketball, it wasn't as stable because like they play 82 games a year. So, football is way more structured, man. They got, 17 games, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So your week, you still can have a personal life, you know what I'm saying? They know.
right.
They give you the schedule. We go to press conferences pretty much every day. Dan Campbell have his press conferences. We watch practice, we go into the locker room, get whatever we need with players and whatever the news is of that day, or if I'm working on a bigger picture story, or they could need me for radio, they could need me for TV, but my primary focus is mostly writing. So most of my stuff is on the website. But
Yeah,
with ESPN, you got to be a multimedia reporter. So
for
they
sure.
can need you for radio, they can need you to shoot something, they can need you to do anything. You just got to have the skills and the mindset to be able to do whatever. So on a day to day, man, it really depends on what's needed. If a story break, whatever, I got to be willing and ready to make calls to confirm stuff, and all of it. I'm communicating with my editor every day, so it's kind of a day to day thing. Every day is not the same. It just really depends on what's going on.
Right. And kind of talk about like your life leading up to ESPN. Like, give us your journey. Well,
Yeah. So when I when
and kind
I
of tell us what that's about, man.
yeah, man, it took a lot of work, man. So
Mhm.
when I was in college, I didn't just focus on the schoolwork. Everybody getting a degree. What you gonna do to separate yourself? It's just like sports. And that's the same mindset. If we all going to the same 2 hour practice, what can I do to separate myself? If I'm doing the same thing as y'all, I'm not gonna I'm
Tell us.
not gonna be no better. You know what I mean? So I took that same sports mindset and put it in this. So I think when I was in school, man, I started working for the school newspaper, the Western Herald, getting like $10 an article or something like that, some nothing. You know what I mean? But at the
You
time,
out there hustling,
four
man.
or five of them, that's $50 a week in
Like
college.
you
You know what I
making
mean?
articles, man.
I need them, man. I need that $10 an article, man. So I think, I started doing that and started doing internships. So I came back home one summer and did one at ABC 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
And
did
that's
that.
where we met too.
Yeah, yeah, bet you there. Yeah, and it was crazy because they didn't hire me on the sports side. They hired me on the news side.
There you go.
And I worked my way in.
You got
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You work your way in, you get your foot in the door and. So I
Yeah.
did an internship there. I did an internship in Kalamazoo at Channel 3 there. I started writing for the Slam magazine. I did stuff online. A lot of that stuff was unpaid too. So, I just put the work in. I grinded, and then by the time I graduated from college, man, I had done so much. My resume was full that I had a few opportunities. One of them was to come back home and work at the Flint Journal. That's when they was transitioning to M Live. And the second one was an ESPN production assistant job. Now everybody gonna look at the name and say, "Oh, ESPN, this and that." But I mean, I talked to some people I knew from NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists.
Yeah.
Chris Broussard was one of them. Shout out to Chris Broussard. He had heck of a reporter. And I remember he got on the phone with me, man, for about an hour, and he was like, "Man, take the job at home because you're gonna be able to make mistakes. You're gonna be able to learn. You're gonna be the guy there.
Yep.
If ESPN wants you, they're gonna come get you." So that's crazy.
Yep.
You look at that from that time until about 10 years later, and what he said came true. I don't know if he saw that in me or you just telling me that, but whatever, he said that and that came true. So I started the Flint Journal for 7 years. Um, Developed some great relationships, man. Some of the marquee players at that time, you got Monte Morris, Miles Bridges, Kyle Kuzma, Clarissa Shields was a teenager. You know what I mean? Mark Ingram going to the NFL. Anthony Durrell, Andre, it was so much talent. I was
Yeah.
a new face in town, so I was able to develop the relationships and cultivate them and keep those. And some of the stuff they liked, some of them they didn't. You know what I mean? I had my fair share of highs and lows as well, and from then on, I felt like it was time for me to take that next step after 6 years. So I saw opportunity in Utah, man. I had got turned down for a couple NBA jobs, and the NBA job in Utah was my opportunity. I took it, and I covered the Utah Jazz for a couple years, and then I got hired into ESPN in 2019, and I've been there ever since.
Wow. Man, so one thing I love about hearing these stories, man, especially yours, man, is that you didn't like it sounded like you never gave up. Like throughout this journey. I know like you from the time you say you grew up on Avenue B. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the level of what's coming your way has to be high like every day. Like all of these obstacles that's coming your way. And it sounded like you was just going like pss, 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 pss,
Yeah.
saying better but dodge it, man. And that's very respectful because a lot of us get sucked in into
Yeah.
that hole very easily. That's it's very motivating to hear, man, that your level of hustle and grind and awareness was very high, man, at a very early age, man. Talk about how all of these different life things is like how do you kind of package all that up
Man,
to
as
like
far as
we see Eric today, you know what I mean?
yeah, I think, man, it's just I don't know, man. I think I'm so much in the moment that I mean I don't allow a lot of time to sit back and think about the past. Like if I'm thinking about what I did, in the past a lot, I don't think that's gonna be beneficial to me wanting to continue to keep pushing. Like if I'm on Sports Center last week, I'm not riding that glory. I was on Sports Center. That's
Right.
already out my head. Now what's the next thing? I'm on to this. I already know I got this down, and that's good and bad though because you do got to give yourself some credit. But sometimes I could probably be my worst critic. Sometimes people who close to me because I'm always pushing for what's next and what's to get better. So I think that's my way of just always trying to be better. I want to be 1% better every day. I tell my son the same thing. Like if I'm going to tell him that I got to practice what I preach. So I think I'm always pushing to be a little better than I was yesterday. Whether that's making that one phone call or, just doing something small. I try to keep my schedule to where I'm doing something, man. It's very rarely where I got days where I'm just laying around and not doing much. So I think that's how I'm able to package it all together. I got a good group of people who keep me grinding, man. We're going to blaze on each other. We're going to keep it light, keep it fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not around a bunch of yes people who won't just tell me everything I want to hear all the time either. So I think that's really, really big for me is just to, just keep pushing, man, and trying to continue to set goals and not get satisfied.
Right. Talking about that, so you've been able to come across a lot of big names, man. You've interviewed you including the ones right here out of Flint, Michigan, man. But you've also been able to talk to a lot of other amazing, famous people, man. Can you talk about a few of them, or even some of your favorite
Yeah,
opportunities
for
that you
sure.
had?
I think the first big one, man. I mean, I don't get starstruck or nothing like that. That's nothing crazy. But the first time I ever got starstruck, we talked about. I mean, you talked about getting access in a locker room. So the
Yeah.
first time I got access in a professional locker room, it was Allen Iverson that got traded. He had got traded to the Pistons, and they was playing the Boston Celtics. And I just remember, man, I was just in the cafeteria arguing with my friends about this trade, and and it's like the next day the Slam magazine, they hit me up because they was just starting the digital era, and they was starting to do something online called game notes. So they didn't want like the traditional, like a game recap. They wanted you to do all the stuff outside of that. What shoes they rocking? What quotes you get to the side? A lot of different things like outside the box.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I went in the locker room and I walk in. The first person I see, I'm super early. It's AI. He just sitting in there on the phone. I'm just like, man, this one of my goats. Kobe AI. You know what I'm saying? This is my era. And I remember I just couldn't stop looking at him like, man, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was the trainer was in there having me pick his shoes out. They had the first AI questions. He turned them down. I'm like, man, I wanted to be like, man, where are them? You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
I'm still young. I'm a teenager. I'm about 19. So, just that was probably the biggest one for me. And I walked on the other side and I remember Ray Allen, he was kind of like calming me down. I'm telling him, like, man, it's my first time. I'm nervous. He gave me an interview to the side. He probably wasn't even talking to the main people, but he just saying I was young and I'm nervous. And, Kendrick Perkins was over there and KG and Paul Pierce. And it was just, that was probably like one of the times I look back and can laugh a little bit because I was just so green and didn't understand it.
Right.
To where, man, I've had the opportunity, man, to be around Kobe Bryant, man. And that's my ultimate goal. And, LeBron James. And I mean, he was an ultimate pro, man. And, I think the guys that I've developed the best relationships working wise, though, I would have to say probably Donovan Mitchell and Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions. Now, those are guys that, are ultimate pros, man, but also just good people, man. So it's been so many people I can name and just go down. But I think, like, I'm real big on relationships. So I think, like, the relationship I got with these people is bigger than anything outside of that.
Yeah. How do you use all of those major opportunities that you just mentioned and create into like levels of life, like life lessons that you even tell yourself and even maybe your son?
Yeah, I just try to be myself, and I try to, humanize these people. I think once you get to a certain level, you see that they're human beings, and it's just a job. It sounds crazy, but it's literally just a job. Especially when you start talking to their parents and seeing
Yep.
the sacrifice they made, and
Yep.
you just understand that it is a job, and you see past the glitz and glamour of it. And once you can see past that, you can start applying things. Like if I see Amon St. Brown catching 202 balls on the jugs every day, I can apply that to my son. If you want to work hard, this is the things that you got to do. This is what his dad put him through, or
Right.
this is what Donovan Mitchell's dad put him through, or any of those guys that I've been able to be around. So I think it's really just applying it and being a human being and coming from a perspective of a real perspective and not trying to overdo it and be somebody I'm not. And I think you gonna bond with some people and some you're not. It's just how it is. Like I'm gonna rock with some people out in the streets and some people I'm not with. So the ones you do,
Right.
you just appreciate those opportunities and you just be real when you got a chance to be around people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Talk about your book for me.
Yeah, man. So I did a few of them, man. My first one was called Wasted. I was young, I wanted to do something that was not sports related. And I thought it'd be cool to tell a story about like a functioning alcoholic, somebody who just had fun. I wanted to put everything like college experiences, friend, family life, all in like this character. So I just had fun with it, man. It was now I look back, it's like probably if an artist listening to their first album, you see so many things you could do different.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I do want to do another book eventually, but that was something, man, I feel like it was really fun for me. I would love to turn it into a short film or something. I watch a lot of hood movies, Tubi movies, and all that. So I want to turn it into like a little
Hey man,
movie,
ain't nothing wrong with
short
movies
film or
though,
something.
man. Hey, they be
Yeah, man, that's
good
that's
stuff.
that's what I like watching, man. So I mean, I want to do something like that. It was something cool, man. It was just something fun. I got a good turnout. I remember we did the book release at the Greater Flint Arts building
Downtown. Yeah.
downtown.
Hmm.
That was fun, man. I just remember being young doing that, man. 24, 25 years old. Just putting. It was a lot going on in my life, man. I had lost a close family friend at that time. My son was being born, and that was a way for me to just kind of take my mind off of everything and mentally get away and something outside of sports. So yeah, it's on Amazon. It's called Wasted, man. It was just a fun book to write, and something I do want to revisit, man. Now that I feel like I'm better in all aspects.
And then what was Flint made me about?
But maybe that was just like a movement I started, man. I had a lot of kids at the time when I was back home asking me and being curious about journalism and being curious about being a reporter and what my job consisted of. And at the time, like vlogs were just coming out, like like the video
Yeah.
blogs and stuff.
Yeah.
So um, I thought it'd just be cool, and it just turned into me doing like a little short film. So once I got to talking to my editors and stuff downtown, it was like, hey, how about we just charge people $5 or something to come in and just create a scholarship? So I think we probably raised like $500 or $700 or something,
Yeah.
and I just gave it to two kids. I mean, that was pretty cool. I ain't really had no money like that at times, but just to be able to give two kids a couple $100, you know what I mean, to have in their pockets, and
Right.
I thought that was cool, and that'd be maybe possibly something else to revisit. You know what I mean? So yeah, I did that book, the Wasted book. I did the Flint Made Me scholarship. I also did a book about my son. It's called Ethan's Talent Search. Me and his mother wrote that. We co-wrote it, and that was just something fun for him. Like he's into sports, but we also trying to like teach him about writing and teach him about reading, as well, in addition to his love for sports. So it was all real family members, real friends, that he's still cool with to this day, and just kind of learning what he's good at through not like so all these friends had different talents, which he wasn't that good at, and he ended up finding what his talent was by failing at the other ones.
Yeah.
And I also did the book with Kelvin Torbert, All In.
Yeah.
We did a biography with him, and that was fun. So yeah, I got 3 different books, man. We did a scholarship, and everything's been, centered around my city, my hometown, man. It's something I'm passionate about.
Why is the community so important?
I think it's just how we raised, man. I think unless you're from here, you don't really understand it. We just it's kind of embedded in us. If you're really from here and you got people who you really been outside, you really been here, it's gonna get embedded in you. So I think we just got one of those type of communities, man, and I think I'm a product of it. And I think every step of the way I've had community people, community leaders help me. So I think it's just only right to continue it and kind of continue the tradition a little bit.
Talk about one of the hardest stories you think you ever had to cover.
Man, hardest stories I ever had to cover. Like as far as like ruin a relationship or like just like a
Yeah.
personal one or.
Well, so I was originally asking about something that you would have to do for work, right? So if it was just whether it was like an emotional one, maybe you covered like a player that it was more of a personal story
Yeah.
more than just like, stacks and stuff, whatever. Was it something that maybe like a
Yeah,
producer?
I do a good one and I do a bad one.
Okay.
A good one. Um, it was this guy, and his son is crazy. His son played basketball with my son now. But he came out, it was a senior year of high school, and he was supposed to be like one of the better players in the area, but he
Right.
came out struggling. And they was like, man, what's going on with him? You know what I mean? And somebody whispered in my ear, like, man, he about to have a kid. It's a lot of stress on him.
Mm,
And which is, I mean, that's not uncommon all the way, but I mean, I haven't really read many stories where somebody opened up. Like, what's teenage life like? You
right.
trying to juggle sports and being a parent. And I approached him about doing it, and we followed him all day, man. As far as after the baby was born,
Yeah.
and we did a full profile on him, and I literally spent the whole day with him. I was so inspired. I literally slept in the office writing that story, man. That's how inspired I was. I
Wow.
wrote it the day of, and we ended up winning the story. The guy's name was Nashua Wise,
Mm,
and he played at Southwestern, and we ended up winning the Associated Press award from that. It was like one of the best sports stories of that year. And it's crazy because his son now is like I think 1 year younger than my son, and they play together now. And maybe one day we'll be able to revisit that story. But that
yeah.
was like one of the best because it was like we got a lot of access. I remember like we cut the light on, and his child's mother was like laying down. They was getting the baby together. They forgot we was coming that morning. It was just like me and the photographer. We literally it was a real story. We spent the whole day with him, and that was a good one. A couple ones that was tough to tell, man. Like, cause you get close with guys, man, and when they do the good, you gotta write the good. When they do the bad, you gotta write the bad. You know what I'm saying? As long as you being fair, I feel like you gotta do what you gotta do. So one of the most recent ones, man, obviously was I had did a big story with Jamison Williams, man, and I had to report the.
Mm,
Obviously, I did a great story with him before that. And then he had got some trouble where he got suspended, and I ended up breaking that story, and it caused a little friction with me and some people close to him, but we ended up getting through it, man. So that was tough. And one in Flint that was tough was Thomas Rawls, man. I had got the same thing, man.
oh, I remember.
I knew him from high
Yeah.
school, and he
Yeah.
got in a little trouble at Central Michigan, and I had to write that story. But I felt like I went about it the right way because I reached out to the family, I reached out to them, I gave them an opportunity to tell their side. But I think sometimes they forget that we have a job too. We got to write the good, we got to write the bad. As long as we being fair, and I'm trying to give y'all a platform to speak out, but that's a couple of situations that was very, very difficult, man. But you got to do your job. You got to do the good and the bad, and I feel like I'm fair at all times, and my line is open. I'm not gonna never write nothing and hide behind it, and don't know you no more. Nah, we can talk about it. We can get through it, and I'm never gonna be a type of guy that's gonna try to, oh, I got you saying this, or I'm out to get you because I'm not out to get you at all. I'm just trying to do my job the best I can. I'm gonna always be
Fact-
fair. So them a
Facts.
couple of situations that was kind of tough to. It's been more too, but them kind of the two that come to mind.
Yeah. So, what's some fun things you like to do, man, when you not working, man?
Man, what I like to do, I like to go to concerts, man. I like to hang out. I like to just have fun, man. I like to go for walks. I'm old now, man. I like to not old, but I like to go walking in the morning, and I like my
And you
peace,
reach a
man.
certain age, life get a little different.
Yeah,
You
I like
you
peace.
want more peace and quiet than you do
Yeah,
all that hype. This I'm about to crank it. Hey man, listen, bro. I just want to chill for a few hours
yeah,
in my backyard, smoke a
yeah,
cigar or something, and call it a day.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And I genuinely enjoy bonding with my son. He's
yeah.
11,
Oh,
so
family.
I like being at the practice when I had time, and
Listen,
it's fun, man, because it's like it's not forced. It's something that he loves, and it's something we share a love for. So when I do have the opportunities to take him to games or
yeah.
give him some of the access I get, and like just exposing him to as much as I can, I think that's fun for me, honestly. And I know I only get this period for a small time.
Yeah,
He's
for sure.
11.
Hey, for sure.
So by the time you're 18, I know I only got this for. So I try to take advantage of that and understand that it's only a small window that I have, and that brings me probably the
It
most
only
joy,
changes
honestly.
a little bit though, man. Like
Yeah,
it's like a period where so my son 15, right? So I've seen
yeah,
periods where I'm a very involved parent with all my kids, but
yeah,
my son is just it changes, but the process is still the same, man. Still buddies. I'm just not gonna be able to be like maybe we don't go to the park like we used to.
yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? I'm still doing some other stuff, man. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean that connection only gets stronger, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's authentic. I mean, you've been doing it from the beginning, so
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
when you just ain't one of them in and out every few years type of
yeah.
lady, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You have a
right.
relationship with your kids, man. It never
Yeah,
ends. I don't care how it's strange. I got
yeah,
my daughter 22 and she in college, right? And I can stories when she was 16. I used to, bro. You see, I ain't got no hair, right? Like I think I put all my hair out when my daughter turned 16. I was like, I used to have my beard was black, it's all gray. Bro, but but now though, man, she be sounding like me on the phone. Like, you sound like your daddy. You done learned a
yeah.
few things, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
But it's
right.
always when you build that relationship, man, it stays with you, man. So
Yeah, that's my dog. That's my little dog, man.
yeah, man, that's dope, man. I love man, I love seeing men how we are involved, man. I know society paints us as black men and black fathers as not being involved in our kids' life, and that's just
Yeah,
not
it's
the
not true.
case.
I know a lot of involved dads, especially who I'm around. I don't really be around nobody who ain't around their kids,
Facts,
so you can't even hang around me.
facts.
You don't mess with your kids. I don't really
Hey,
can't rock with you like that.
hey, for real, for real. All right, so hey, so just give us some advice, man. I know you speak to a lot of kids, man. You speak to a lot of youth. So
Mhm.
what's some of the advice that you normally give them, man? Um,
I think the biggest thing, man, my grandfather I always used this story, but he was incarcerated, man, 52 years. He just got out in May after 52 years, something he did at 20 years old. So I always, man, teach them and tell them just watch who you're around, man, and really decision making, because you could be in a situation like my grandfather where you ain't even try to do nothing, and somebody pull you in something, and it take a lifetime to get out. You know what I mean? So 52, man. So I think there's just decision making. You know what I mean? And watching the company you keep. You know what I'm saying? And being authentic and original yourself. Like I told you before, I used to hide my talent of being a good writer, or you
mhm.
know, just not want to fully show myself. But I teach my son and everybody around me, man, no, like if that's what you is and who you are, be yourself. You know what I mean? And it don't matter how nobody think, because as long as it makes sense to you, that's cool. So, watch the company you keep, be yourself, be authentic, be real, and just have a goal, man. Have a dream. Don't just get up and let the day take control. You take control of the day. You do something to try to be a little better than you were the day before. So I think those are the biggest things, man. And it's tough, especially growing up in tough cities like Flint, Detroit.
Yeah,
Just tough inner cities, man. So many things that's gonna hit you that you're not even ready for. But as long as you confide in mentors, and you got a good support group around you. And even if you don't, seek that help. So many resources that you got. All you gotta do is speak up, man. So
facts.
it's so many things you can go in that lane. But I think just some of those things are the biggest things I touch on.
Hey, I'm gonna get you out on this one, man. Kind of tell me why uh print, like, with you being in print, tell me why that print is still like print media still matters,
It
right?
definitely
Not
does.
dead, right? I know video is king, but tell me why print media still matters.
I think it matters because everybody, even like a lot of athletes, feel like they can be reporters or be this and that. Like they feel like we're not necessary, but we are necessary because we're gonna give an unbiased opinion. We're gonna fact check. When you read things, it's gonna be like, hey, this is research done, especially on a level like ESPN or CNN or some of the big, even around in the area, Detroit News, Detroit Free Press, Him Live, Flint Journal. These people are actually putting in the work to make sure the work is accurate. They making sure they can't just put stuff out and it just be out there like a blog or something like that. Like, it matters because that's authentic, real news. You know what I'm saying? It's still a place for real news in this world, man. Like, it's still a place for people to actually put the work in and not just spread rumors and lies. Like, it's still a need for that. If somebody gets shot in the community, as just happened in Flint, we need to be able to look and see what happened, read what happened. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, to know what's going on, what's the details, what went down, or if something good happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, if something in the community happened that's good, we need to be able to read and understand that it's a new park opening, or it's a new
right.
healthy restaurant, or it's a new school, or and the people who not trained to do that, they don't understand how to package information or the right questions to ask, or how to even frame a story, or what I mean. Everybody think our job is just easy and you can list all the names of people I interview, but you're not gonna list all the time and effort that it take to actually
Hey,
get their story right. You know what I'm saying? Or make sure that it comes out and everything's accurate and it's the words are spelled right. You know what I mean? Like, we're in a generation where kids don't even know how to spell no more. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy because they don't have to write. You know what I'm saying? It's just real talk. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a need for that, man, because it's a need for people to really know actual news, and news is always gonna be king. I don't care what nobody say. People need fair, accurate and clear news, you know. So
Yeah.
that's why we always gonna matter.
Hey, Eric, man, I appreciate your time, man. I know you're a busy guy. I really appreciate it, man, that you came and kind of gave us a little bit in depth about your life, man. The respect has always been there, bro. I mean,
Same here, man.
Like I said, when you was interning at 12, man, the respect has always been there. I love the grind, the hustle. And then you've always been authentic, man, when you out, bro. And I truly appreciate it, man. Thanks for holding it down.